Well, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks for clicking on to today's long range discussion for the 11th. It's Saturday afternoon now, and we certainly do not have cold weather up here across Scotland, across Northern Ireland and Ireland as well. However, we have got plenty of winter weather. We had a frigid morning, and really it doesn't be often that I say the word frigid here in the UK, but it certainly was the case this morning. Many places dropped below -10 quite easily across eastern England and the south and southeast as well. Away from London, where temperatures dropped off to -6 in central London this morning. That's quite an impressive temperature for the heart of London, of course, an urban heat island. But out with the M25, we've seen temperatures well down, very, very cold levels. And you ask yourself the question, where did this all come from? You know, it was Europe, and then all of a sudden we've seen very cold temperatures here in England as well. The reason being, folks, is simple. If you've been watching the pattern over the past 14 days, we've seen that frigid air migrate from Russia all the way across to, the Low Countries. We've seen, 4 or 5 days ago, we've seen temperatures down to -18 in Amsterdam. And what I've been noticing is that basically we've seen snowfall, and within a 36-hour period, in fact, for Holland and Belgium, we've seen snowfall, and that night the temperature just plunged right down to -9 Fahrenheit, -22.9 Celsius in eastern parts of Holland. Temperatures, like I said, down to 0, -18 Celsius in Amsterdam. Now, over the past 36 hours, we've seen some snow yet again across the Eastern Midlands, the Midlands itself, and down into the south as well. Even London's seen snow again. Now, that frigid air that was bottled up, and basically the North Sea separated that frigid air from generally cold air. Over the course of last night, we've seen that frigid air actually push across the North Sea and introduced, with the clear skies, the high pressure, very cold air mass in place. And of course, and the key ingredient, folks, is that fresh, reflective snow cover. The power of snow should never be underestimated. Any time during the winter time, when you've got the snow, you've got the cold air mass, and you've got that maximum radiational cooling. So yes, it was a cold night for sure across England. Now, we are going to be looking at certainly interesting times ahead. These, just to reiterate, is actually the temperatures we've seen. This was my Facebook friend Matthew Wheeler sent me this image here, the temperatures this morning. So look at here, up across West Yorkshire, right down. You notice here, folks, that basically to the east of the Pennines, the East Midlands, down in towards the southeast, we've seen even temperatures down to -14 near Kingsland and Norfolk, -8 in Norwich. And then, of course, you've got -10, 12, -13, even down to -15 Celsius. Just a remarkably chilly morning. But yes, I am not surprised at all, given what we've been seeing across Europe. If you've been following the pattern, you've been watching the fact that this cold air mass has been continuously moving westward, even while the majority of Britain was saying it's not going to come here, it's going to remain over Europe. Well, that was certainly not the case this morning. And believe me, folks, Scotland as well as Ireland do not rest easy at the moment, because I don't really think that this is over with. The severe cold that was seen across England this morning, I still believe, yes, it will come to other parts of the British Isles. Now, let's have a quick look here of the ECMWF, the upper level map. And yes, this is overlooking the Northern Hemisphere. Now, the British Isles, of course, is here. Europe, of course, the cold air, that polar upper low, centered over Western Russia as well, feeding that Siberian air into Europe. So the cold pocket, you can see the deep trough that's slanted, positively tilted. You can see here where the majority of the UK, in fact, is under it's basically split between milder to the north and the west, cold continental air to the east and southeast, and of course the dry air. Matthew was telling me this morning, or he wrote a comment on the Facebook page about how there was barely a frost where he lived, yet the temperature was down to -8. The reason being is Arctic air is some of the driest air masses you'll find anywhere in the world, and of course that is the case with temperatures across the east, as well as the dryness of the air. The drier the air, the colder it can become. Just like in the summertime, the less moist the air is, the more chance that it will heat up. So it's a similar idea, only in the opposite end of the temperature scale. But let's have a quick look here. Notice a few things here. This, in fact, is the wrong map, because I've actually got Monday up for you. This here is the current map for today. Now, see, like I said to you, look at how much cold there is over Europe. Look at also how the trough has now dipped into the northern plains of the United States. That's going to be moving eastwards towards the northeast. Very cold tomorrow into Monday. We've got a cold Arctic trough pushing through. Temperatures tomorrow into the 20s, remaining stuck in the 20s across the I-95 corridor from DC up into Boston as well. Temperatures on Sunday night may drop close to 0 Fahrenheit, minus 18 up and down the I-95 corridor. A very cold night indeed on Sunday night across the northeastern United States. What does that mean for us here in the UK? Well, I'm looking at that, folks, and seeing the trough going to be starting to push towards the eastern seaboard of the United States. Now, what I'm interested in is seeing the reaction further downstream, so to speak. So basically, we're looking at that trough over eastern North America. Is that going to, along with the push and the pressure put on by this trough over Europe, is this going to squeeze the Azores high? It's been so dominant, it's been keeping Scotland away from a winter pattern, as well as Ireland. Now, are we going to see the persistency in this ridge of high pressure, or do we see the work of both this trough over eastern North America, as well as the trough so dominant, so persistent, so brutally cold over Europe? Is that going to force this Azores ridge northwards? And that is the key question. It really is a very difficult one to say. The models at the moment are not, basically, it's not coinciding with my ideas, but I'm really going to continuously be persistent with my ideas of seeing the more dominant trough win out and eventually start to break down this ridge of high pressure. Remember, folks, it's been a very, very mild winter generally overall across the United States, but we are seeing winter fight back across the northern plains and eastern United States. What I'm interested in seeing is, folks, across England, I'm sure the majority of you out there did not believe a morning of the cold, the magnitude of cold we've seen this morning. I bet you didn't believe that would take place. Well, I certainly have got news for you. I still believe that there's a lot of winter left to come here in the UK, as well as Ireland as well. I think really we are the only part of Europe generally that has not seen true winter, in the sense we have been left out. I don't think the atmosphere is going to cheat us, even though we are starting to move on in terms of the winter season now. Notice here, folks, if you're looking at this upper pattern, the trough now starting to push more towards Atlantic Canada. You notice the reaction with the atmosphere over the North Atlantic. This is important, folks. This is the key question. Does the ridge, like I'm saying to you, force northwards? And basically, this trough of cold air, of course, we've seen tremendous amounts of cold across Europe. I can't emphasise that enough. You only have to look at your TV screen. More snowstorms, of course, across South Central Europe, as well as the Balkans as well. Now, the question is, does this ridge move northwards enough to allow this trough to feel a point of weakness? Does it go to the path of least resistance? I believe the trough, the ridge of high pressure will build northwards, it finding its path of least resistance, because the troughs either side of it are stronger than the ridge. That's the thing that I believe is the case. We're going to see the cold air push further westwards, and in turn basically push the ridge northwards and westwards. We need to get this ridge of high pressure further west in order to allow that cold air to drop in from the north. And I do think midweek onwards we could see that. Yes, many of you say I continuously beat the drum of cold. And yes, I do believe. Basically, one of the reasons why is because I forecast it. I'm gonna stick by it. you know, and if next week pushes through, we don't see any cold, we don't see any snow across areas that have missed out, i.e. Ireland, Northern Ireland and Scotland, well, I have to then ask myself the question, are we going to see it this year? But continue to stay tuned, folks. There is a lot to play for. More severe cold, I believe, will impact the British Isles before the end of the month. Hope you have a great evening, folks. Continue to check back the Facebook and Twitter as well as my blog for the latest updates. Bye for now.